All right. And we're going to start from, of course, we'll start from verse 1. Okay. Ecclesiasticus or Sirach, chapter 29. And we are going to start from verse 1. Some of these things we're going to go through, definitely the first part. I want to squeeze some other verses in here. All right. So Ecclesiasticus chapter 29. Brother Kai, you want me to still read today or you wanted to?
Well, I read.
You read? Okay.
He that is merciful will lend unto his neighbor, and he that strengtheneth his hand keepeth the commandments. Lend to thy neighbor in time of his need, and pay thou neighbor again in due season.
So this chapter is kind of, basically reiterating the point about giving and lending and, being wise with it as well. Okay. So this is going to be this is going to be kind of the context of dealing with chapter 29. Okay. So first thing, he that is merciful, right, will lend those to his neighbor. All right. Point of the merciful aspect is right. It's a form of what's the word? Not entitlement. It's empathy. All right, that's the word, empathy, right? So you understand, I want to get mercy, right? I ought to extend it, right? You going back to the same basic principle, right? The commandments teach about what? Loving your neighbor as what? As yourself, right? There's times where I need mercy, I need this, I need that, right? And if I know that, it's easy to sometimes help somebody else in that same predicament. Okay. It's going to get to taking advantage of it as well, beloved. But first thing is we want to have that kind of heart, that kind of spirit to want to help and assist our brothers and sisters. Okay? That is part of being that merciful. And he that strengthened his hand keepeth his commandments. So when you are helping your brothers and sisters, that is what? Strengthening the hands, and also what? That is part of fulfilling the law. I'll tell you, this is not a new thing that when Christ came about. This was something of old. Okay, they just kind of got away from it. Lend to thy neighbor in the time of his need, and pay thou thy neighbor again in due season. Okay, so we want to be able to lend. Okay, when our neighbor's going through something. Okay, so I want to go some part real quick. All right, let's go to Psalms 37. Well, screen. And there's a lot of verses I could touch on with this, but I'll just kind of talk about some of them as well. We go to Psalms 37. Because there's going to be scriptures definitely with this chapter talking about giving to your neighbor and stuff like that. However, there are laws as well, beloved. We are supposed to try to return things back as well, right? So if somebody's under intention that is borrowed, like they're lending you something with the intent return, make sure you give that back. You want to make sure you get that effort to give it back. All right. If it's something just lend to just to help you out with your situation, not to worry about the return, then you're good. Okay. So there is a balance with all these things. Okay. All right, Psalms 37, Psalms 37, and let's jump down to verse 20. All right, points there. Let's go to 25 and read into 26, if you don't mind.
I have been young, and now I am old, yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread.
And we hear this one, usually in church, we hear this one often, right? But this is good. This is something we do need to really, even though we hear certain things, sometimes it becomes redundant to us. It almost loses weight when we hear something all the time. But we need to understand this stuff is truth. It should always still have that same power and potent impact. All right. Said I was once young, right? I've been young and now I'm old. And beloved, we've been young, we get older. Yet he said, I have not seen the righteous forsaken. Not just him, not just the righteous forsaken. I didn't see his seed begging for bread. Okay. And this is what David's seen a lot of things, right? So there is supposed to be an insurance protection when it comes to what? Living righteously. So discipline. I tell you that lifestyle is a discipline. Okay. Nor is he begging for bread. But let's read the next verse.
He is ever merciful and lendeth. His seed is blessed.
All right. So it's not just that he has enough for himself, right? God don't forsake the righteous, okay? But he's saying this kind of person, this righteous person, is what? One of the characteristics is merciful. He's merciful. How do I know this brother or sister is merciful? One of the attributes is what? He lendeth, he giveth. Because, beloved, that is yours. Your substance is yours. You get to choose what you do with your substance. You can keep it all, right? Help yourself, benefit just you. Or you can lend and help others with some of your substance, right? So the righteous, forsaken seed begging for bread, he is ever merciful and lendeth. And guess what? His seed is blessed. Okay? Not just because of the substance, right? Because he's going to instill the right things even in his seed, right? He worked probably hard for that money and the job and saving and things of that nature. You're going to still, hopefully you instill that to your child. Your child will what? Carry that on. Right? So this is something very, very important when we're talking about, the giving and the charity and things of that nature. Let's go back to Ecclesiasticus. Okay. So this is why I'm saying he that is merciful will lend unto his neighbor. Okay. Anybody got anything for verse 1 or 2? Anything for verse 1 or 2? All right. If not, we're going to keep going.
Keep thy word and deal faithfully with him, and thou shalt always find the thing that is necessary for thee. Many, when a thing was lent them, reckon it to be found, and put them to trouble that helped them.
All right. So keep your word. We shall know that. Deal faithfully with him, and thou shalt always find the thing that is necessary for thee. And that's the important thing, beloved. Okay. If we can jumble all these things, because like I said, it's like a Paul thing where you can make it simple, but they like to break it down. And it's good. We can nibble on some of these things, and sometimes we need these kind of details when we're explaining certain things that we're lending. All right. So we're going to make sure that we're dealing faithfully. Okay, these are certain spirits, right? Certain fruits of spirit that we need to have for ourselves. And when we do these things, beloved, we are going to be taken care of. We're going to have the necessities that we need. All right. And it's going to get to, the necessities live at the end of the chapter. All right. So I don't even need to mention it too much. All right. Let's keep going. We'll keep going.
Till he have received, he would kiss a man's hand, and for his neighbor's money, he would speak submissively. But when he should repay, he will prolong the time, and return words of grief and complain of the time. I know that all too well. If he prevail, he shall hardly receive the half, and will count it as if he had found it. If not, he have deprived him of his money, and have gotten him an enemy without cause. He repayeth him with cursings and railings, and for honor he will pay him disgrace.
All right, so all the things that can come about with this, beloved. All right. I'm just gonna put it in small terms, beloved. You know, there's going to be, even when you give, right? This is just something. Somebody give. First of all, we should be appreciative,
Mm-hmm.
right? That was their power that they gave over, right? It was their power to give or to keep to themselves. They chose to give it to you. Even if they did it in maybe not in the most pleasant spirit, right? They still chose to take something that was theirs, right, and give it to you for your benefit. Off of that act alone, you should be appreciative. All right. Now, a lot of times, people, when you lend them certain things, they're gonna sometimes that's what he's talking about, you kissing the hand, all that kind of stuff, right? They'll be very pleasurable when they know they owe you, right? They'll be real nice and stuff like that. And then it shouldn't just be that. You don't want to just do it for that favor, but that happens. All right. Sometimes they repay you. Sometimes there could be some complaining and stuff that goes along with it when they actually repay it. But we should be, like I said, if there's something alone, it should be something that we are conscious of and making sure that we are capable, even if you're capable of doing it, right? You want to borrow, and that's what I'm saying. The difference between somebody just giving you something and it's like a loan they're giving you. All right. If I need I needed 200 from Kai. Oh, Kai, I need 200. I'll pay you back, right? I should establish how long it should take, just to get some of the details out, right? But it is something in his power. He gives it to me, and we agree on a time frame need to be back. I need to make sure I really and with all my intent give that back to him. All right, because he's taking away from his livelihood. Should be a thing. Oh my God, he's hounding me. I know I said I'll have it, but he's hounding me and all this stuff. Like, he act like he need it. Right? Kai's good. He don't need this $200. He acting like he broke and stuff like that. Nah, we don't need to put that out there. No,
Right.
right? You gave your word. You need to be faithful to your word. Okay. Now, if something hits
Oh,
and it prevents or something like that, you need to go to him, right? Listen, brother, every tent, this happened. Can you please extend like length of time and stuff like that? So we do, beloved, we want to make sure we're dealing with this. All right. And second of all, if you mess up, a thing where somebody lending you something, right? They might most likely what? Don't want to lend to you again. You lend to somebody and you get the money back, it'll be easier the next time if something happens. Maybe they'll be more inclined to lend to you. But if you give them a hard time, you avoiding them and all those kind of things, that's certain things that shouldn't be. Okay. But beloved, I'm going to give you wisdom. All right, but you can do what you want. All right. Now you need to make sure you are capable and know who you're lending to. All right. If God loads this $20 I give Brother Mike, if I don't get it back, I'm going to start looking at him differently. I'm going to start treating him differently. He don't need to what? Give me the $200. All right. And I always say, when you're giving, okay, if you're doing like a thing where they, pay it back, don't give where you can't lose it. All right. And what I'm saying with that, don't give something where if I can't get it back, now I'm, in trouble. I can't take care of my basic needs, all that kind of stuff. Then you're not in the position to be giving that. Okay. And that's okay. Everybody's not going to have that position. All right. But one of the worst things is sometimes you're trying to do what's right. Okay. I love to tell you, try to do what's right and give and lend and help. Right. And then they, don't return and stuff like that. And now your spirit, right, get all caught up, and now you're looking at them side eye. You're ready to talk bad about them and stuff like that. See for all that, you might have just kept it and say, I don't have it. Okay. So with this, we want to make sure we balance the scale. Okay. If you know the lender, the person that's received it, if you know you can't pay it back or something that's not reasonable for you, you need to make that clear and honest. All right. Or say, Lord's willing, I'll be able to give this money back, whatever. Don't just say once you say you will, you done made a what? A vow to it. All right. And we ain't supposed to be breaking that. Okay. So just be very, very mindful of those things. So both parties, because like I said, there are friends that turn into enemies, all right, from things like that. All right. Even family. There's certain family members that people like, man, nah, I ain't dealing with them. Right. So that's why I said, but when he should repay, he will prolong. No, that's not the one. Where's the enemy part? He has deprived him of his money, and he have gotten him an enemy without cause. All right. But some of those things, like I said, money and stuff like that, it brings the sensitivity out of a lot of people, brings sometimes the best and worst out of people. So just be mindful, beloved. Okay. Still, you can do good, do it in the capacity that you can do. All right. Somebody might be able to lend $5, there's no problem. Somebody may be 100, somebody may be 1,000, right? You want to make sure it's not going to change your spirit. All right, what you're giving. Okay. That's my thing. Okay. But there's a lot more into it, okay, that I won't dive into. Anybody got anything for what we read so far? 1 through 6. 1 through 6. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Many therefore have refused of them for other men's ill dealing, fearing to be defrauded. Yet have thou patience with a man in poor estate, and delay not to show him mercy.
Read the next one as well.
Help the poor for the commandment's sake, and turn him not away because of his poverty.
All right. So, beloved, let's look at this. So many, therefore, have refused to lend for other men's ill dealing, fearing to be defrauded. So this is how we talk about you burning bridges, right? So think about this. If I defraud Kai out of those $200, now when somebody asks Kai for some money, he might be more what? He might be like, nah, I ain't trying to do that again. I can't afford to lose another $200, right? So sometimes we can put a bad taste in somebody's mouth where they're like, man, I don't even want to do that. Okay. So some people refuse to lend because of ill dealings. Not that they don't want to, but man, how many times I'm going to get burned? How many times I'm going to, get messed up and somebody cheating me and all these kind of things. Okay. And they're like, you know what? I just don't want to deal with it. And this happens, beloved, with a lot of different things. I was talking about money, but this happened even with churches. Some of us experience that. Nah, them churches, they go and take and do this stuff, and nah, I'm done dealing with church. They act this way, right? So we want to make sure that we are not keeping this bad taste in people's mouths. Okay. We want to make sure that we're doing the things we ought to do in the power that we can do it. Okay, because we don't want to ruin it for the next person. Verse 8. Yet have thou patience with a man in poor estate, and delay not to show him mercy. All right. Remember, beloved, let's be patient. Okay. I love that they're using certain words so we understand it. Okay. Be tolerable. Understand there's going to be people that's in a needy state. Okay. And he says, what? Delay not to show him mercy. That's part of mercy, helping them out. We think mercy is just forgiving, right? It's not just forgiving, but we understand the capacity of some of these words. We're going to see this thing gets deep. They're using mercy as in to lend, help them out. Okay. Bowels of compassion, right? So when we talk about the fruits of the spirit, it's not just like I told you, it's like commandments. It ain't just 2 commandments. It's exceedingly broad. It's so many. It ain't just those, well, I don't know how many fruits of the spirit he actually illustrated. I can't remember. I don't know if it's like 9, right? But it's so much contained in that. Okay. So we want to make sure that we don't get so hurt or get so frustrated, lose our patience, and we say, you know what, we're going to close up. I'm not helping nobody out no more. Nope, they ruined it for everybody. I'm done now. Right? We don't want to get to that state. Okay. If somebody mistreat your mercy or somebody mistreat your love and things of that nature, you don't want to cut off from everything because that's damaging you. Okay. But also, beloved, the Bible tells us to use wisdom. We don't also want to be gullible, all right, with things as well. So, like I said, there is a balance. Verse 9, okay? Help the poor for the commandment's sake. So there's a commandment's sake that's dealing with helping the poor, all right? And turn him not away because of his poverty, all right? Don't just, nope, I'm not doing, I'm not helping, I'm not going to lend, right? Because of his condition. I'm going to show you a verse, okay? Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 15. All right. There are plenty of verses that deal with, helping, your brothers and sisters, things of that nature. Okay. All right. Deuteronomy 15. Deuteronomy 15. I want you to start at verse 7. All right. Deuteronomy 15, because he even has it in the laws for us when it comes to dealing and helping. So they talk about, oh, church is stealing. That's because these are so-called. They're not, they steal from you. Nah, they just a den of thieves, like Christ talked about. All right. But a true congregation, a true church that the Most High has put his anointing on, right? And he built it up correctly how it's supposed to be built. No, it is not a place of robbery and things of that nature. Okay. So Deuteronomy chapter 15, verse 7. Deuteronomy 15 and verse 7. You're going to read 7 and 8.
If there be among you a poor man, one of thy brethren within any of thy gates, it's like I had a call come through.
No problem.
If there be among you a poor man, one of thy brethren within any of thy gates, in thy land which Yahweh thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not harden thine heart, nor shut thy hand from thy poor brother.
Mm.
But thou shalt open thy hand wide unto him, and shalt surely lend him sufficient for his need and that which he wanteth.
So you see that what? The Most High, when he talking about we doing these commandments and everything, he was going to what? Bless us, right? What's one of the ways he blesses us? With substance. And he's saying this substance, the way I'm blessing you with, right? And we talk about abundance, you don't have room to fill, right? I have more than what I need. As in, I can lend and still can take care of what? My needs. All right. So when our brother or sister, somebody may be struggling, saying, don't be so grudging with your money, don't be so tight with your money, right? He's saying, open your hand. How do you say your hand? Wide open. All right. Y'all shall open thy hand wide unto him. All right. Thou shalt surely lend to them. Okay. So maybe if we had it, yeah, we're gonna give to our brothers and sisters. All right. They in that state, give to them. All right. That's the kind of heart and mindset we have. Okay. We are not supposed to be grudging where we're not giving nothing to our brothers and sisters. Okay. Once again, this we still have to understand the proper context. We also need to understand who you're dealing with. All right. This brothers and sisters, this is in the land. There's a lot of things that's going on in this. Okay. But that spirit of being merciful and giving is supposed to be in all of us. All right. Let's go down to verse 11. All right, let's go down to verse 11.
For the poor shall never cease out of the land. Therefore I command thee, saving, thou shalt open thine hand wide unto thy brother, to thy poor, and to thy needy in thy land.
All right. So, once again, love it. There's going to be what? That's where you get like the poor will be with you always, those kind of phrases, right? Because where he's getting it from? Right here. The poor shall what? Never cease out the land. So even though we're going to be blessed all these things, there's going to be some people that's what? That's going to be in need. And don't think poor always have to be the person on there with just a cup and saying, can I, like, it don't always have to be that way. Somebody in need, right? Poor, I don't have enough for, to cover my need basis. So let's say, I might have a job, I can lose my job, and then maybe I have expenses for the next, 2 or 3 weeks. But after that, I don't have enough to cover. All right. I will be in the state, I'll be poor in that sense. All right. I don't have the need to cover whatever I need to pay for. Okay. So it ain't everybody just, oh, I need, a dime or a nickel, whatever. But, some people just need a little bit of help or assistance. Okay. And we have, if everybody's kind of thinking like that, it will work out because what? People have a lot, be able to assist the ones that's, lacking and things of that nature. Okay. And this is something on the side individually we're supposed to be having, but also understand, beloved, we have things that was set up just like how the government have it. They got that from the Bible, right? We have certain things where we will help out. Okay. Some of those tithes and stuff will go to assist and help, right? The ones that's poor and in need, I should say. Okay, maybe helpful for us, for those that are in need. Okay, so this thing about the church is set up just to take, and rob, and so the preacher getting everything. No, that's what these so-called pagan, and I'm saying pagan because they're not truly trying to serve the true God, right? These den of thieves and stuff like that. They need to stop calling them churches, right? They're getting skewed, but those that are claiming the church, a lot of them are doing it, but that's because that's them. That's not God. That's them. Okay. And the thing that take advantage of it, because a lot of times we're not going back to what? They're not staying under the law. See, you hate the law until those kind of situations happen. But the law will what? Restrict those things. Okay. So this is why it's so important. Make sure we get this understanding and seeing it so we don't think that God co-signed for some of the stuff that we're seeing. Okay. Learn the Bible, get to the law is about giving and helping one another. It's the best way. It's the only true way. Okay. Let's go back to Ecclesiasticus. Sorry. Okay. Back to Ecclesiasticus. We just read 7, 8, and 9. Anybody got anything they want to bring out a comment about what we read so far? All right. Let's keep going then.
Lose thy money for thy brother and thy friend, and let it not rust under a stone to be lost. Lay up thy treasure according to the commandments of the Most High, and it shall bring thee more profit than gold.
So read the next verse as well.
Shut up alms in thy storehouses, and it shall deliver thee from all afflictions.
So, matter of fact, read the next one, next verse. Sorry.
It shall fight for thee against thine enemies, better than a mighty shield and a strong spear.
All right. So he's saying, that tight with his money, right? You don't just give nothing out, right? No, we're not supposed to be so tight when we see our brothers or friends in need. Like, no, that's part of the blessing, right? This is what I'm trying to realize that is a blessing. Because you have doctrines where you got to be poor, right? To be righteous, you got to be broke. You can barely have anything, right? No. All right. Some of the blessing is that what? God will give you sometimes the substance so you would be able to help. You could be a blessing to others, which is what? The original thing. Abraham was saying, what? Bless those those that bless you are going to be blessed. Right? This is some of those things. People's connected to Israel, they was getting blessed. It's being connected with us. Okay? Remember, when we go to Deuteronomy 28, sometimes we hear the curses so much, and we always break down the curses that we forget the blessing. Remember, we're supposed to be in the high position ahead, right? When it comes to the nations, and we're supposed to be what? Able to lend and not worry about having to what? Borrow from them. All right. We understand the condition that we done, disobeyed God. So we got in this position lowly. But there's still individually of us being righteous, we're going to be elevated to that. And some of us can afford to even lend, different amounts. Okay. So helping the poor, no, I'm sorry, I read the wrong thing. Lose the money for what? He's very specific. Brother and thy friend, and let it not rust under a stone to be lost. Sometimes people get into that spirit of greed where it's like, I just got to get more. And, you got a big old safety goose nest with all this kind of stuff, and you don't want to lend it to nothing. You can see your friend struggling, right? Need $100 that could probably change. He trying to go somewhere. I got more than enough, but now I'm going to keep it here. Right? You got your brother over there that could probably, benefit from a few, but nope. I ain't giving them nothing. Right? So he's saying no, we should be able to have that kind of spirit where we're just not, I'm just gonna let it sit here and rust. All right. Look at that. Some people are like, I'd rather go to waste than help brothers and sisters. And beloved, if you want to see, even with America, when you look at this, it's some selfishness, beloved. To see all these poor people sometimes that you see in the cities and things of that nature, how much these restaurants throw away and food throw away. Not all bad food, good food, throw away. And I think there's actually laws, I believe as well, where they can't give it to them. Think about that. I'd rather throw this stuff away than a brother and sister be able to eat. The kind of world we live in. All right. But with us, Israel, that shouldn't be so. All right. That should not be so. All right. So lay up thy treasures according to the commandments of the Most High, and it shall bring thee more profit than gold. All right. So when we look at the treasures and stuff like that, we understand there's a carnal aspect, right, of your natural treasures, right? And the Most High will, he can bring abundance to that. Okay, it's not a lie. I know the churches wear that point out, right? He can bring abundance to that. Okay, that's part of a blessing as well. However, we want to lay up the treasure according to what? Treasures in heaven. All right, and this is where Christ does talk about, right? That the moth don't eat up or the rust get to it, right? We want to make sure our spiritual bank, our heavenly bank account is full. Don't worry about just your earthly bank account being full. You need to worry about that one. Okay, that one supersedes everything. Okay, you can be earthly rich, all right, and spiritually broke. Okay, so a lot of people, the problem that comes in the Bible is not that you got abundance on earth. The problem is you putting that, your faith, trust, and energy into that and neglecting your God. That's when it's a problem. Okay, but beloved, you get abundance and God bless you with that. If you're not breaking the commandments, all good. Good Lord bless you. All right. You don't have to be guilty for making money, beloved. All right. But what we should feel guilty is if we are losing our dedication, all right, to serving the Most High God. Okay. That's why it says the love of money is the root of evil. Because if you love it, right? It's a certain that love has a certain weight to that. I will do anything for that love, right? A lot of them that love money, they'll cheat people, backstab, rob, manipulate, right? They'll do a lot of things for it. That's ungodly. That's why it becomes, okay? But it's that ungodly love towards things. All right. All right, shut up alms in thy storehouse, and it shall deliver thee from all afflictions. All right. So, like I said, I'm not going to all the verses. So, yes, there is a verse that's talking about the storehouse, and he says, you that's I'm going to open up a bigger barn to put more stuff in. And he said, thou fool, thy soul requires tonight. He's not going at the brother, just have somebody having abundance of stuff. He's talking about the mindset, the focus. All right. Sometimes we're so into this world, right, that we are not considering what? The Most High God. That's when it becomes an issue, beloved. All right. Don't let the money blind you. All right. Don't let any, our partners blind us. Don't let anything blind us or distract us from the main goal, which is fearing God and keeping his commandments, which is the whole duty of man. Okay. I want to make sure we have the proper understanding when we're dealing with these things, because you hear a lot of stuff. I'm like, where are you getting that from? All right. So make sure we understand it. Let me go to another spot. All right. We're going to stay right in the Apocrypha, but go to Tobit. All right. Let's go to Tobit chapter 4. Tobit chapter 4. And I want you to go to verse 7.
Give alms of thy substance, and without givest alms, let not thine eye be envious. Neither turn thy face from any poor, and the face of God shall not be turned away from thee.
Right. So we'll stay there for now. Right. So give alms of thy substance, right? So alms of what? Your substance you have. Okay. And when thou givest alms, let not that eye be envious. All right. Don't let your that might be too much. Let me put this back, right? Right. Don't let your eye be envious. Oh man, I'm giving this away, but man, if I ain't helping them now, how much more I can get from this, right? Saying don't let your eyes, deceive you. All right. So neither turn thy face from any poor, right? Same thing we've been talking about. And the face of God, listen, shall not be turned away from thee. This should probably ring a bell what Christ talked about. Okay. So when God, when you were naked and I didn't clothe you, when were you this? And he said, what you did to the least of them, you did what? Unto me. See, you thinking it's just, no, you're helping your brother, sister, you're giving that need. When you do that to them, you're doing that to what? To me. That's what I'm trying to get. No, that act is to me. I tell you, it's all these things are always about God. He's the centerpiece of it, beloved. All right. So when we're looking at our neighbors and all that stuff, we having compassion on being merciful unto them, all those things. It's like we're doing it to the Most High God. When we're being forgiven to them, it's what? We're showing that we want that forgiveness from God. So think about that. When we're treating others a certain way, beloved, think about it. Do I want the Most High to treat me that way? Okay. If I want to be merciful to me, I need to be merciful to my brothers. If I want to be patient with me, I need to be patient with my brothers and sisters. I'm sorry. Right. So all these things is showing us something. It's a deeper message behind it. Okay. All right. Anybody got anything? Let's go back to Ecclesiasticus. All right. So we'll get some reading in. We'll make sure we're done by 8. All right. What verse? Matter of fact, I want to go to one more. I'm sorry. Let's go to Proverbs 4. See. Proverbs 3. Proverbs 3 real quick. Proverbs 3, and brother, you can read at read verse 1 and then go down to verse 9.
My son, forget not my law, but let thine heart keep my commandments. Verse 9. Honor Yahweh with thy substance, and with the first fruits of all thine increase.
So how can you honor him? With your substance. All right. Because like I said, your substance, it's in your power to do what you will with it. All right. So you can honor him by what? Giving him of your substance. All right. So you work, you get what? You get the reward of it. So I can honor him with what? The substance I got. Because the reward is my substance. That's mine. So when I'm giving, it's showing that I'm honoring him. All right. So how do we honor? He gives you the example with the first fruits of all thy increase. All right. So that first fruit, the best. Okay. Not the remainder. All right. I'm gonna do everything. I'll make sure I get all my kind of stuff I want. And then whatever, pennies left I got, I'll just give that to him. All right. No, the first fruit is like the first of the harvest, the best. Okay. So when you get it, the first thing, how can I honor him? Okay. Then you get the best. That's the mindset he wants us to have. Not just with our physical or monetary substance, with everything, we should consider him first. All right. And if it's pleasing in his sight, then we go ahead. And that's what I'm saying. It's always the spirit of beloved. All thy ways, what? Acknowledge him. He's wanting us to learn those things. That's why he's so particular with these laws, scriptures, because it's getting us to understand that what? We need to put God first in every aspect of our lives. We can't afford not to have him first. Okay, we got the Bible, got plenty of examples of times where we did not have him first and it always went bad. Okay, let's keep going, brother Kai, because that didn't end it. That we see the colon there at the end of 9. So let's read verse 10.
So shall thy barns be filled with plenty, and thy presses shall burst out with new wine.
So we have faith and say, when we're doing these things and honoring the Most High with our substance, giving him the best, he's going to in return what? He says, so shall thy. All right. So shall thy barns be filled with plenty. So guess what? There ain't no better investment than that. I'm giving the best, and he's gonna what? Make sure I got more than enough. And the presses shall burst out with new wine. Okay. Now I know they make foolish and mockery of this stuff in the church. They got a little Honda. I'm gonna come down. Honda. Oh, you're gonna be. We're not talking. Forget the circus, beloved. All right. This is righteousness now. We're talking about the truth. All right. We talking about the foreparents, right? That were what? Serious about serving God and doing it for the Most High God. All right. And as much as sometimes we look and say, man, but they were serving that, they had a certain peace of mind that you can see this generation, a lot of them do not have. Right? A greedy, selfish generation, this generation is. All right. And we think sometimes we got so much smarter or advanced. So we went backwards, a lot of us. But a lot of them trusted the Most High God. And as much as we don't see it because we're like, oh, they were still struggling, this and that, right? He kept a lot of them. Kept a lot of them. And we are supposed to what? Get the baton and go further, beloved. All right? That's why we can't afford to get distracted. Let's go back to Ecclesiasticus. All right? Let's go back to Ecclesiasticus. All right, and we are at verse storehouse 13. We have verse 13. Let's do 3 verses, Brother Kai. Let's do 3 verses.
What chapter was it?
We're back at Ecclesiasticus, chapter 29.
29.
29, and we're going to start at verse 13, and you can read 13 through 15.
They shall fight for thee against thine enemies, better than a mighty shield and a strong spear. An honest man is surety for his neighbor, but he that is impotent will forsake him. Forsake not the friendship of thy surety, for he hath given his life for thee.
So having this stuff, having abundance, it can become a protection or a defense. Money is a defense. I think Solomon might have talked about that, right? He said it's going to answer all things, and we know that has to be in context as well, beloved. All right, but money does answer a lot of things, beloved. Right? You sick? What you need? Money. You need money, right? So it does what? That's the bargaining tool that we have to get receive certain resources, stuff like that. So certain things fluctuate with that. Definitely on this earth, it fluctuates with the money. All right, that's just how it is. Okay, it's the economy. And forget not the friendship of surety, for he have given his life for thee. All right. So you want to make sure you don't forget those things. Don't forget those that have done good to you and all those kind of things. Sometimes it's easy to dwell on, sometimes a mistake. And sometimes we'll let, one mistake erase the 10 good things that somebody's done to me, right? Or 10 good things they sacrificed for us. So we want to make sure we're always looking at things in a pure heart, a pure spirit. But let's keep going. Let's keep going, Brother Kai.
A sinner will overthrow the good estate of his surety, and he that is in unthankful mind will leave him in danger that delivered him.
Mhm.
Suretyship have undone many of good estate, and shaken them as a wave of the sea. Mighty men have it driven from their houses, so that they wandered among strange nations.
So I'm looking like I know stewardship. I know a lot of. I'm like that word don't look like it's English, right? I'm looking at it. So I looked up in like the dictionary. I'll do that if I don't sometimes know a word. It don't show up like with like the Webster or something. So sometimes you have to go into Google and look at the biblical definition with that word. So when I looked it up, it was talking about suretyship is refers to the state of being a surety or someone who guarantees another debt or obligation. All right. It involves a person becoming legally responsible for someone else's actions or debts. All right. So it's basically, it's almost like I will do it like signing off on somebody that like you co-sign and stuff like that. You're taking responsibility of that. And when they don't follow through, who they go after? They go after you. That's another thing. Be very careful. Well, I want now just you should be sign off on people's stuff that that's like I said, you're taking a big risk. That ain't what the Bible tell you to go and do certain things. That's why I'm saying is the Bible gives you both. All right. So when you're looking at this, shortership have undone many of good estates. So there's a lot of people that signed up, I'll take care. If they don't follow through, I'll take care of it, or they can take I'll co-sign it, and if they can't pay for it, they'll take, my substance and stuff like that. He's saying, let's what? If I've done many good estates, a lot of people that had some substance stuff got messed up because of that. And shaking them as a wave of the sea, shook them all they got. Brother Kai had a house, but he signed this co-sign thing, right? And the house is collateral. And Brother Mike didn't follow through. Man, Brother Kai should never do that. Put that up, but that kind of stuff happens and it messes people up. So just because some people have good intention, they just willing to help. And sometimes one of our things that we have to be mindful of, sometimes we look and think everybody is like me, right? And I'm saying not me as in Brother Michael, but me as in, well, if I was in that position, if I owe somebody, I make sure I'm gonna pay them back. Everybody don't think and do the things like you. All right. But us of God, it should be that way, beloved. All right. However, not everybody have that same spirit. Okay. So you have to make sure you use wisdom in these things. Mighty men have it driven from their houses. Listen, some of them lost their houses, had to get out their houses so that they wandered among strange nations. Okay? So be careful. Now, that's why I said don't be given more than you can afford to lose because you don't want to be trying to help somebody else out and you lost your car, you lost your house. Okay? Not being wise. Make sure you use balance. Don't let nobody guilt you. All right? I don't know how I'm going to pay my rent, but I'm going to just throw it all to this person. No, don't do that. Okay? To help somebody else, you need to make sure you're okay. Then it becomes you have enough to help somebody out. But if you don't have enough to care for yours and everything, then no, you're the one indeed. You don't, somebody drowning ain't gonna don't help somebody else that's drowning. Okay. You need to have somebody that has that security, that's on that boat that can help. Okay. All right. Where do we stop at, brother God? Was that set 18 that we stopped at?
Yeah, we have verse 19.
Okay. Yep, we can read that.
A wicked man transgressing the commandments of the Lord shall fall into suretyship. And he that undertaketh and followeth other men's business for gain shall fall into suits.
Mhm.
Help thy neighbor according to thy power, and beware that thou thyself fall not into the same.
All right, a wicked man, guess what? You transgressing the commandments. He said, oh, you're gonna fall into that. You're gonna fall into some debt. You're gonna be falling into some of these things. All right. So this is why we what? We want to keep the commandment. Put God first. I believe there's a scripture talking about he'll put a hole in the money bag. That sounds right, Kai?
Yeah, yep.
Haggai.
Okay, there you go. Thank you, sis.
No praise.
Yeah, right? Because we got to think about that. Right? I'm serving the Lord. It's insurance with this. Okay, I have a confidence because and like I said, some people want to have confidence in certain aspects, right? I don't want to just destroy people because there's some people that have some almost blind faith when it comes to definitely when it comes to the money thing and just giving, right? We don't destroy that. We're saying you're going to make sure you're doing everything with it, all right? Because some people just experts that want to do one part, right? But there's other facets of it. Don't think giving is over doing the commandments. No. All right. So we looking at this, beloved. We want to make sure we are not transgressing the law because guess what? A lot of people going and gaining certain things, ungodly riches, and guess what? A lot of them losing it. You seem like, damn, how they struggling? All the money they bringing because God was putting that hole in there. Okay, and beloved, we should know better. So we're doing and making sure we're putting God first in everything we do. He's assuring what He gives us. Okay. So those that follow after other men's business, right? For gain, you doing it for gain. Guess what? He's saying you're gonna fall in the same kind of predicament. Okay. Help thy neighbor. I talk about this. Help thy neighbor according to thy power. I don't want to think, well, Brother Mike just trying to be trying. He tell they don't say that. You can just give all that you have. God will take care of you. No. See, a lot of times people just read a part of a scripture and just running with it. Help thy neighbor according to thy power. You don't have enough power to give somebody 500 and you're going to be now messing up and can't pay your stuff. That's not your power. Some people's power is going to be $5. That's fine. Beloved, give them the 5. The more the Most High bless you, the more you be able to give and all those kind of things, right? But don't try to prove a point and put yourself at risk. No, the Most High not telling you to do that. Okay? Don't let your emotions get you out there to sign something that you're behind what they say can't cash. Okay? Perfectly fine. Okay? But if you have the power, then you can do those things. Okay? And beware that thou thyself fall not into the same. Yes, because some people trying to help somebody else and they're down. Now we got 2 people in need. That didn't help anything. It was better that one person was in need and you could take care of them, but at least you take care of yourself. That's a benefit. But now when you give and now y'all both messed up, now you got to get out your house. Now it's going to be a lot harder to kind of restore all that. So that's where he's saying within your power, beloved. Okay? Within your power, within your means, you give. All right? Verse 21.
The chief thing for life is water and bread and clothing, and in house to cover shame. But it is the life of a poor man in a mean cottage, than delicate fare in another man's house.
You read them?
Be it little or much, hold thee contented, that thou hear not the reproach of thy house.
Yes.
So the main things, the chief things, right? The main things for life, we need what? Water, bread, like food, and what? Clothing, and a house to cover us. All right. That's the main things. All right. That's what we want the Most High to bless us with. Now, He can bless us with abundance. Beloved, that's the blessing. If you can have bread, water, clothing, you have a place to, a roof under your head, right? That's a necessity. That's what you need. The other things are blessings. Nothing wrong with that. He will bless some people that you can get more than just that. Okay. But if you gave you that, you got your needs covered. Okay. Now make sure that you're responsible what kind of bread. Some people can't afford the same amount of bread as somebody else. Right. Sometimes you're gonna have to, budget according to your means, your house. Don't become just so house poor. Someone's got to, when they say keep up with the Joneses, you want to get something that you can't afford and now you can hardly maintain and you want God to do that. No. Sometimes you need to downsize. That's the blessing right there. Downsize. Okay. So we're gonna make sure we're using wisdom with these things, but those are the necessary things. All right. So but let's keep going. Let's keep going, brother. Good time.
For it is a miserable life to go from house to house, Khan. For where thou art a stranger, thou darest not open thy mouth. Thou shalt entertain and feast and have no thanks. Moreover, thou shalt hear bitter words. Come, thou stranger, and furnish a table, and feed me of that thou hast ready.
So, beloved, he says in Israel has to go house to house. All right. It's not when you're just trying to get your feast, but it's just think in general, it's wisdom. All right. Sometimes like, dang, I'm tired of, I'm tired of going here, 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 right? Somebody just have to keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay. Now, beloved, if predicaments happen and you're trying to get yourself established, no, don't be ashamed where you have to stay somewhere to get yourself together. All right. Sometimes those things happen. Okay. But he's saying that's your life is always, you have to go to this house, to this house, this house. He said that can be miserable. All right. And he says, when you're a stranger, you open your mouth, right? And they basically, people can use bitter words against you. All right. Sometimes they can treat you bad. All right. The freedom is having your own. When you are under somebody else's roof, you're under their rules. Okay. And that's where sometimes people that have to go under people's houses always adapting to sometimes their rules or their ways of things. But that is what you got to subject yourself to until you get your own. Right. Just like you tell the children, right? This is my roof, this is my house, this is my rules. If you want to do what you want, you get your own house and you do your own thing, right? The same thing. Okay. Finish it up, Brother Kai. You don't mind.
Not at all. Give place, thou stranger, to an honorable man. My brother cometh to be lounged, and I have need of my house. These things are grievous to a man of understanding, the upbraiding of house room, and reproaching of the lender.
All right. So this is some of the stuff we might look at as what disrespectful, but it's some of the stuff that happened, right? Oh, get up, get up, get up. My brother's coming. You got to make this room up and everything. This is good company. It's an honorable thing, right? You got to uproot and move yourself and everything. You go in this spot or you have to go to shed or whatever, right? So this is what he's saying. This is part of things that come about when you don't, have the things in order. Okay. So we want to make sure we desire that we have our own. All right. So there's a certain freedom that we have of our own. Okay. And if someone don't have the freedom now, that does not mean you're not righteous or anything like that. Don't equate to that. All right. Sometimes we have to go through that process and navigate definitely in this world and things of that nature. All right. But there are certain consequences that come from not having your own, which is you have to be subject to whoever is in charge of that house. Okay. And sometimes we don't like to be subject to those things. All right. So if you don't, very important that you make a game plan, have a strategy so you can get your own, so you can avoid those things. All right. Anybody have anything for the chapter? Ecclesiasticus chapter 29. All right. All right. I hope we learned something from chapter 29. Those online, we'd like to say Shalom and Ayana Habatham, which means we love you all. Truly do.